Just days after the signing of the 14-point Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, between Iran and the USA, and just days after negotiations in Switzerland between Iran and US Vice President J.D. Vance, Iran is making a mockery of both the talks and the signed agreement. America claimed that Iran had agreed to inspections of the nuclear sites, but Iran said no. America claimed Iran will use unfrozen funds to exclusively buy US food, but Iran said no again. America claimed the Strait of Hormuz is open, but then Iran said, actually, we're closing it. Now, Iran not agreeing to the terms of its own agreement? Who would have thought it? Well, maybe just anyone who had been paying attention to Iran for decades. In fact, the only thing surprising by Iran's actions is that there are even people surprised. President Trump observed in his book, The Art of the Deal, that the worst thing you can possibly do in a deal is seem desperate to make it. That makes the other guy smell blood, and then you're dead. That's good advice, but it's a shame it wasn't listened to, because the art of this deal has become more like the art of the steal. Because even though Iranian forces have been decimated, it has still been able to steal victory from the jaws of defeat. And the biggest loser in all this, well, it's not Israel, even though Israel will be pressured to stop its campaign against the terror forces of Hezbollah. And it's not America, whose reputation has been tarnished on the world stage. It's the people of Iran, who have just seen the support for their fight against this terrible regime evaporate, because the MOU says that both sides will refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. This is the same regime that massacred tens of thousands of demonstrators earlier this year. But hope is on the way, is what President Trump said in January. But here's a somewhat sombering update. It isn't. It is simply perplexing that the world's strongest country would bend the knee to a regime that attacks its neighbors, including American allies, with missiles and drones. A regime that chants death to America and death to Israel. A regime with American blood on its hands. And by the way, this MOU doesn't even mention missiles. This is a regime that is using the MOU to shield its most important terror proxy, Hezbollah, from continued Israeli military pressure. And can I remind you, Hezbollah, like its master Iran, has the same goal: to wipe out the Jewish state of Israel. And yet, President Trump criticized Israel's military action in its campaign in Lebanon against this genocidal group. This is, well, it's astounding, because Israel has shown that it is America's most reliable ally, an ally that fought shoulder to shoulder with it, unlike the great West democracies of Europe who never even lifted a finger to help them. And the suggestion that Syria could do a better job? Do you remember the massacre of the Druze in 2025 by Syrian forces? The only thing that prevented that from being even worse was the intervention by Israel, something the world remained quiet on. Yet Syria can do a better job? Absolute fantasy. At best, this MOU will be a ceasefire, an extended pause in an ongoing civilizational battle between radical Islamic fanaticism and Western democratic values. But at worst, it will be a brief interlude, giving Iran and its terror proxies a chance to rearm and refresh for the next, even more challenging conflict ahead. And mark my words, there will be one. Iran can claim it stood up against the combined military might of Israel and America and survived. And they're not wrong, because this MOU guarantees their survival. Back in 2020, President Trump said in a tweet, Iran never won a war, but never lost a negotiation. He was right then, and sadly, that observation remains true today.